This is your daily market recap for Monday, September 12th, 2022. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka The Trading Agent. This is your daily market recap for Monday, September 12th, 2022. Hopefully you are having a great day. Hopefully you are paying attention, checking out the Discord room, link in the description below, and also just following along. Ultimately, the goal is to make money, not to trade aggressively to gamble, but to do what the market is doing. Does that sound so hard? I don't think so. However, to a lot of people it is, because they want to be right away. They want to always be winning, and they also want to be aggressive. When you don't know, you don't know, and sometimes you don't chase. Just win in general. Less is more. I always talk about that. Again, this channel is built for people who are, I would say, have experience trading, but looking for that edge to how to ultimately win more consistently versus chasing every shiny object and trying to ultimately do too much trading. Less is more. On that note, if again you're newer, check out the Discord room. Link is in the description below. We are chatting all day. Bring in the heat. Bring in the heat. All right, Bitcoin. Talked about it. If it held here, it's probably going to bounce. I personally don't have a position. My thinking is this is a big chop zone. At this point, if I'm a bull or a bear, I'm like, it's like gold. Just leave it alone. If you're in at the lows, fine. If you're shorting up near the highs, just know your levels. I mean, it's ultimately a game of probabilities at this point, which I would say the probabilities of what are, I don't know. And if you don't know, that means you just don't trace. You just don't trade it. I mean, it's really hard to tell people don't trade gold. Don't trade silver. Don't trade the miners. No, but I have to know. I have to do something. It's like, all right, whatever. You could have been doing other things. Oil, talked about it, hitting this like range lows. I know it's still going to 60 at some point, but what said, look for shorts on the pops, 90. I mean, the higher the better. Like, that's just how I look at it from shorting. I mean, I saw the drip get down under 15. Some people took it today, didn't do it. It is on my absolute radar at some point. I promise you that. It will be absolutely be shorted, just whether we get there or not. Do we get there? Do we not? Zadala. Talked about it hitting the 29s when it went up here. Things that aren't bearish. Yeah, dollar's pulling back. Might tighten up here. Keep an eye on it. TLT. Not excited about this. I've been layering into it. I'm about halfway into what I want to be. People are anticipating some potentially lower prices. I'm just trying to catch as near the low as possible because I know how this looks, how this works. Seen this a bazillion times. And what do I mean by that? Go look at the monthly. Talked about it before the 2008 crash. You had just high, like you had this chopping off of the level. Here you go. Is it getting puked before the CPI? Clearly. But go look at the volume on the daily. Snoozer. Absolute snooze fest. It looks more of just position squaring, stopping out. I know there's some rebalancing in the bond market this week. We shall see. Again, you want to play with the big boys. This is what you do. You layer in at the lows. Because if it does start, it might gap up and rip up against you. You don't know. That's why people are always like, oh, you're early. It's like, I'm usually early because guess what? The first move is not usually the bottom. When you start layering into a position, if it goes one touch and then rips, then you probably can't get a lot of it. That's how I always look at it. Not going to be able to get a lot. The VIX, holding up pretty good. Gotta admit, it is. Not surprised that the VIX is up. We'll see what happens. Again, I don't anticipate the VIX staying up all week. Here's the gap. Does it fill? We'll see. VIX termination, remember, OPEX, what does it mean? Typically, they're trying to kill the puts and the calls, and right now, there's way more puts out there. This is old max downside. We'll see what happens. Is the VIX in? Talked about it, back testing the trend line when it was up here. No one believed it. Now what? I mean, could it get back to 27? We shall see. The SPY said 410 to 415. Nobody believed us. Well, now you have a novice gap probably, which could be what? Multiple days of chopping. Maybe make, again, some people are saying 200 day, and it's like, probably not. Probably not. I would anticipate what? Somewhere around here. It's the VAP zone. If you don't understand what volume at price means, think about what the market is. It's a liquidity seeking mechanism. The market makers do not want to mark up a price or mark down a price unless they have what? Liquidity. They need your stock. They need my stock. Whatever. They need our liquidity to do something. Just keep that in mind. So, near term, if it gets choppy, don't be surprised. Is this the top? I have little faith that today is the top. Hence where if people are shorting, I'm like, don't jump into it. Take your time. Let it play out. Do not be so quick to jump on the short bandwagon. Remember, people are out of position. If they're out of position, that means what? Probably going to go higher or chop out at worst. Same thing with the Qs, 20-day, maybe 315. That's kind of my near term. People say, oh, it's going to go to the 200-day, 320, 330. I'm like, not in a straight line. No, it's due to bounce, which it did with seasonality. Talked about Apple at some point catching up. Here you go. For the market to hit 420 or like the 200-day, like think about where Apple's going to go. It's going to go much higher. I just don't anticipate that. The IWM got close to 190. Here you go. 20. Oh my God. Apes R Us is here and he says that it's snark. Oh man. All right. Definitely buying more calls into the close. This guy's a clown. Hey buddy. Nice guy, but I mean literally do the opposite of everything this person recommends. I think they're a bot. It's pretty funny. No, I'm not buying more calls. We've already got plenty. If everybody's anticipating the market to tank on the CPI, again, all the bears are digging in deep. Yada, yada, yada. Gamma squeeze, talking a bunch of junk. Who cares? IWM, talked about 190, 20-day. Perfect. Everybody's out of position. Yeah, whatever, dude. GLD, leave it alone. Talked about it. The best action is going to be to blow out the lows. That's all I would wait for. That's what I would wait for. Take out the lows. Nice pop on silver. Again, I still think it gets back down to 16s. Doesn't. Again, I mean, I'd love to see it pop and hold up, but you got to be wary of how this works. Just got to be careful of how this works because, again, the best time to buy silver is when it blows out the liquidity, not on the pops. Name a silver bottom that was not, like, incredibly difficult, slash scary. And I mean scary like scary, like you have no clue what's going on. GDX hits the 50-day, breaks this little channel. I don't know. I don't really care. Again, all this stuff. Don't care. Just don't care. Got to do a little house cleaning. Let me do this. All right. Yeah, someone wants to ban this guy. He's just annoying. Apes. GDXJ, 50-day, bouncing. Not surprised. Literally not surprised. But here's the thing. If the dollar was coming down, the market was going to rise. Are you surprised this popped? No. I mean, again, it's just one of those things. Like it's like, what do you choose to play here? I'd rather just leave the miners metals alone because I don't see much upside near term. So anyway, AG, sweet pop, cool. I mean, if you're trading it, good. I mean, that's a big move, I guess, 6 to 850. Keep it simple. Very simple. I mean, I really don't have much anticipation of all of them. I mean, I like AEM better. But again, I think this is the hardest thing I think people don't realize about the bottom. They just don't. That it's not ever clean. You know, when the VIX spikes into the 50, 60 range, which if there's a bear market and that's how it's going to end, this stuff is not going to be clean. It's not going to just go right down to a price and be like, refreshing. I'll have a tall glass of AEM. No, it's going to put your, like, mental awareness to test. Like, are you really committed? That's what they do. What they do every time. Newmont, again, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Pass. I mean, again, it's all these things. Great, they're bouncing. Awesome. 20-day. Whatever. Thank you guys for banning this guy. I mean, it's just so silly. I mean, talking about meme stocks. Again, if people know me, know that I believe in taking risk that's worth the reward. If you are holding meme stocks long term, you're gambling. And if you're putting $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 into something that's a gamble, well, don't be surprised when you get wiped out. I have no desire to get wiped out, ever. Goal is to make sure what? We survive, thrive, and do well. Oh, we have another troll. Awesome. You must be doing well when you get trolls. 200-day X, not surprised, hit it, bounced off. Talked about materials names, like them. Just, I don't trust them. Just don't trust them. Same thing, Nucor, here you came, up into the top. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. VALE, we talked about it, fillings the gap. Fillings the gap. All right, cool, it tested it, bouncing. All right, all this stuff. I mean, it's the market, due to bounce. Remember we talked about the SPY bouncing for 390. It gets up to 410. This stuff should bounce. Market, rising tide lifts all boats, right? Just is what it is. CCJ, I know a lot of people are teeing up shorts on this. I understand your point. Again, this is what's so hard. Leave it alone. I mean, all these names. I mean, we all love uranium, right? We all think it's strong long term. It all makes sense. Just be aware. If the market peels, onions, everyone's crying. Arrow, same thing. All great names. Great. Popping up. Here you go. Here's the volume price analysis showing you what. The buyers are down. The buyers are down there. You bounce. You're over the 100-day. All right. We'll see what happens. Again, I just don't have a ton of faith in this stuff because why? When the market pukes, everything gets thrown up too. Mosaic, man, pop, drop. I mean, are they anticipating Russian war ending? I don't know. War with Ukraine? Who knows? CF talked about this as a nice one to buy on dips later. Wide and loose, who knows what's going on? I mean, all these names, just be patient, please. Please be patient. Please be patient. All right, I don't know what to tell you when they're going to bottom. I have prices, but let's not put the cart before the horse. All these names, at some point, will be a buy, and we'll be there. We'll absolutely be there, but we don't need to think about it until when? The market's done. This is not a bull market. This is a bear market, y'all. We talked about this. The evidence is clear as day. But whatever. I mean, people have to trade. It's if you're buying stuff, just like we're buying tech, we're trading it. We're not sitting around going to go, well, I bought Apple at 153, 154. Well, I'm going to hold it forever. Nah. No. Absolutely not. That is not what the plan is. I hope people realize that. Speaking of, let's get into the tech. Let's get into the tech. As we always start with an approximate alphabetical order. Our friend AMD, down a little bit. Not surprised. Does it have to go up every day? Probably not. Still expecting somewhere around 90. Keep it simple. SMH, acting really crappy today, but yeah, hits the range. High, backs off. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you have to remember, nothing goes up all day, every day. I mean, from point A to get to point A to point B, it's probably not a straight line, right? CRM, here's one making high of the day as we speak. We talked about, I got stopped out down here, and then zip, pow. Probably going up to the 167 plus. Real simple. Goog's down today. Oh my God, end of the world. I don't know. Probably just chilling out here around the point of control, around 111. We'll see. Microsoft took a little off, trading around it, still anticipating probably, you still could get into the 270s. Would not be surprised me if the dollar's down. However, Doji today, maybe a Doji sandwich, goes a little higher, 270. Again, not really, you got to be careful being bearish here. Everyone's out of position. And again, that's where the biggest moves happen. Money managers don't have enough stock. Bears, look at stock twits. Everybody's bearish. Everybody and their mom, brother, sister. So, you just got to be thoughtful, okay? The market's taking the most amount of money from the most amount of people. You have to remember that. And if that's the case, what? Well, what do you think, right? It's going to be a market that goes nowhere. For the near term. At worst. But it still probably goes higher. That's the honest truth here. I'm still bearish longer term, but man, I would love to see more pop and chop. Pop and chop would be distributive. But you got to hit the levels. Again, you're probably going to get to the levels where what? Most people back to even, or most people would be chasing. And they chase where? Based on where they got in last time, right? Think about it. Microsoft, not really so much. It probably here. Somewhere where at this price range would get people really excited. Oh, maybe we're about to go higher. Again, the best advertisement for higher prices is what? Higher prices. Amazon. Here you go. popping. Talked about probably could get here. Maybe it fills the gap. I mean, these are things you don't see that are bearish near term. Now, again, are we due to probably pull back at some point? It is OPEX, CHOPEX. Let it play out. Apple, been selling as we rise. Talk about buying down here the 100-day. Talk about the upside target of being like 161 to 164. If you sold it all at the open at 159, what were you doing? What were you doing? People were talking about taking profits. I'm like, man, you got a winner. Let it run. Give it a couple hours. I mean, I could run through all the tech, Roblox, things that you don't see are bearish, just kind of holding up. Maybe it goes back to the highs. I don't know. Just keep it real simple. Somebody was like, oh, I'm taking Netflix off and I'm taking my profits. What did we say? I'm like, held at 20 days, probably going higher. Maybe it fills this gap around 240. Again, all these things are what? Showing you that the market's out of position, chasing. Like, you don't get higher highs ripping like this on lighter volume unless the market maker wants it. You have to realize that. Like, the market maker wants to get the market higher. The best way to sell is to get prices higher. Remember, average person is scared to buy at the lows, but they'll always buy at the highs. Crappy meta. Here you go. Into the range. Can it get over it? We'll see. If the market's going higher, absolutely. When people say, well, wait, hold on, you think the market's going lower, but it's going higher? I'm like, no, you're not listening. What I'm saying is that the potential for both right now is about equal, but I anticipate it to go higher to do what? Near term. To squeeze out. Like, there's a ton of bears. Like, go look at StockTwits. Go look at Twitter. Everybody's bearish. Even freaking MicroStrategy doing a secondary to buy more Bitcoin. Hey, thanks, Deanna. Appreciate the super chat. 20-day, not surprised, but remember down here, no one wants it at 200. Bing, 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 bang, bow, pop. Look at that. Awesome. Even NVIDIA. We talked about what? Probably could get here. Maybe it fills a gap. I mean, people say, oh, it's bearish today. I'm like, is it? It made a higher high and it's just chopping. Short-term bull. How long? Till the price targets hit and the action, the VIX gets where it's going to go and the market gets what? Crazy. Let's watch the close. And even if it doesn't close at the highs, is the CPI going to be less than expected? Probably. Now, does it have to mean, could it gap down tomorrow and then rip right back? There's a million ways to play this. It's CHOPEX. I just don't chase. Absolutely don't chase. No, the August 10th CPI report reaction should help people learn to be patient before drop. Yeah, technically, yes. But again, you just don't worry about everybody else. Worry about your own positions. If you have got big, fat, monster gains, you need to be taking profits. And if it pulls back, well, you trade around it accordingly. It's not rocket science. Like, I'm not all in long going into the CPI. I've been taking profits all day today. People were like, oh, you didn't take profits on Friday. Well, look at the Stock Traders Almanac. Go into the CPI. I said this morning, I'd love to see this close at the high of the day. And if it doesn't, well, maybe it has some more to go. We don't know. Everybody's trying to get short way too early. And that's usually a sign to me that what? Probably got squeezed more. If we talked about Tesla, people are like, oh, I'm going to short it. It's like, well, if the market's going higher, you got to be careful. We talked about the 200-day being the upside. This is where you have to be able to think independently of what? You have to look at the market. If the market's not at the highs, the ranges, and Tesla then can go higher. It's what it did. It's literally trading 101. Okay? Be safe. I'm telling you, don't be so rigid where you think, well, it hits this price, I have to short it. That's what the market is, not an exact mechanism. You don't bring a ruler going, oh, it's got to do this and do that perfectly every single time. No. NDAQ, I love this thing to hold up here at 64. Maybe it goes even to 65. Maybe it goes to 64. I don't know. I want to short this. But it's hard to short this when what? The market is doing bullish things. Now again, I am long, looking to layer out. But I don't want to be too early to short during OPEX. And if we are, and it drops, I expect there will be a pop at some point. Just like every bottom and high, you get retest, choppiness. Don't ever feel like you have to do things. The only thing I'd be doing here is protecting your capital at this point if you're long. It's really that simple. The financials, again, things you don't see if the market's bearish, right? Hits up here close to the highs. Maybe it chops. Maybe it chops. Talked about Morgan Stanley, get him to 90, 91. Gets up there, chops. I mean, it's hard to short. JP Morgan, 121. Did I say Morgan? Yeah. Here you go. I thought maybe like 121. I don't know why I don't have the zone drawn, but whatever. Somewhere in this range. Just is what it is. XBI. We talked about it. People are like, oh, it looks like it's about to roll over and die. And it's like, no, this is the king of chopping at tops, chopping at lows. Why are you in such a rush? It's at the low side of the target range. Probably can go a little higher. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, what? You are harvesting the gains. I hope that seems very apparent. Let's go even to EXPI. I mean, I had to boot someone today because they just drive me crazy about fundamental and technical. I want to do this. I'm like, arguing for limitation. I'm like, stop trying to be a fundamental analysis. You're not figuring out anything the market doesn't already know. Crap. Your stops are what you trust. Not going anywhere. UTHR talked about this. Stock's probably stuck. Stuck. Hit the monthly channel high after a huge move. Talked about the double bottoms. Pop. Chop. Let's end it with the oil names and open mic it. USO talked about it popping up. Hit the 20-day. I did not short. Did I miss it? We'll see. We shall see. I mean, again, I'm looking for... I want more strength, honestly, than less to short, but it's hard. UNG, like to see this get up into the 30 range. Not there yet. XOP, again, wants to buy the drip. I don't know. I'd love to see it higher. All these things I want to see higher. It's just easier to short. Does it make sense? Like, I don't want to be early if the market's rising. Keep in mind, oil names can rise even as the market rises. Here you go. ExxonMobil. We'll see. Now we're going to the CPI. Again, think about this. The rest of the week, ChopX, options expiration. No matter what the top is ultimately going to be, you're going to have at least a retest or a lower high or a higher high chop blowout. We don't know. Just please be safe. If you have questions, stop by the Discord room. I'm just telling you, as always, be thoughtful to what everybody else is doing. If you're the market maker, that's the game you're trying to pretend to be. That's what we want to be here. We're not thinking it from my perspective, your perspective. What does the market maker want to do? And if everybody's short, bearish, look at the stock twits, look at the fin twit, whatever sentiment, everyone's like, short that pop, short that pop, short that pop. That's not how you top. Just like, buy that dip, buy that dip. No difference in gold, silver. There's people like, oh, you got to buy that dip, you got to buy that dip. It's like, that's not how you bottom. It's not how you bottom. It's not how you top. Same thing short term, long term, whatever. Be very thoughtful of the market, okay? If you have any questions, again, stop by the Discord room. But also, if you have profits and you're going into moments where there's massive indecisiveness potentially, you should probably take profits. And by profit taking, harvesting your gains. If you're harvesting your gains, put money in your pocket, buy real estate, buy gold, silver, physical, whatever you need to do. But remember, we're running this like a business. You're expecting to pay taxes. We are winners. We're not losers here, okay? Loser mentality is to just what? Pretend like you're never going to win and don't run it like a business. We run this like a business. All right, I'm going to open it up to just questions. I'm going to stop the recording. I appreciate you guys and gals. Let's keep it going.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.